So if a client is enrolled in a 2025 plan, keep in mind 2026, since this will be the upcoming open enrollment, and the carrier does not have that client in their system, you will need to call the marketplace and have them resend the file to the carrier. This is not very common, but it's happened. So it is something to be mindful of. Remember that the marketplace is the database and they send the info to the insurance company. So when you enroll someone via Health Sherpa or healthcare.gov, that is the main database and that information gets sent to the insurance company. So, like I said, rare, but it still happens. When you log into your broker portal, you'll say, hey, I don't see Miss Johnson and her two kids in my broker portal. Um, give it a day or two, and if they still don't appear, you'd need to call the marketplace and make sure that that file gets resent over. It has happened to me. It is just a transferring error, but it is pretty rare. But be mindful of that. You don't want your clients to information to never have been transferred over to the marketplace. So I always check my broker portal about 2 or 3 times per week, and I just, cross-reference and make sure everyone is populated and appearing in there. So call the marketplace or call the marketplace on the client's behalf if you have authorization to send the 834 file over to the insurance company. That's not, like I said, something you need to memorize. Just know that you need to call the marketplace and make sure that information gets sent. Okay, so you get the eligibility results, and it's next steps is requesting more information. So what does that mean? A lot of times there's a data matching issue. So they're requesting more information, whether that's income, whether that is loss of coverage proof. You'll know exactly what the data matching issue is or the requested documentation. Just know that that information is required to be sent and submitted on behalf of the marketplace of the client to the marketplace. Reason being, if you do not do that, you could lose what you qualify for now because your information does not match the data we have, or they cannot verify the information in your application. Regardless, as an agent, if you get any next steps information, I try to take care of it right then and there on that same phone call. So what you'll do is you'll upload or email the documents as soon as possible and then pay your premium. I I'm kind of 50-50 on paying your premium with the client on the phone. If they, don't need the assistance, just let them know, hey, this needs to be paid by, whatever date. Typically just the last day of the month before the first. And then from there, if they don't know how to do that, that's where I would jump in and help. It depends on the clientele you have as well. If you're like, hey, I don't really trust this person's going to pay their premium at the end of this month, then that's where you could go ahead and just recommend getting it done on that first phone call. Now, tips on calling into the marketplace. Healthcare.gov should be saved in your phone contacts. This is actually the one of the phone lines. We'll show you the agent line here in a minute. A client can authorize anyone on their behalf. So provide the client with your name, your business address, tell them to authorize you for 365 days. This way, if they have any updates to be made, you can just do it for them and they will not have to call the marketplace. Biggest thing is be sure the AOR info is correct on the application before you get off the call with the marketplace. You want to make sure that your information is accurate. So that is the marketplace contact line. This is the marketplace call center for agents, likely the one that you'll be calling. And then if you ever need to mail in information, here's a place to mail it in, or you could just look that up online. So binder payments, this is a great way for you to help as an agent. Binder payments for the first premium are due by December 31st if the client was enrolled by December 15th, or they are due by February 1st if the client was enrolled by January 15th. So if clients do not make their payment, their plan will not go into effect. Payments are not reflected inside that broker portal right away. It usually takes 2 to 3 business days. So if someone pays it and you don't see it paid within, 24 hours, don't panic. It's likely just hasn't, synced through the whole system. But if you're assisting the client with the payment, you need to go to the carrier's payment site for the client to input payment. Let the client know to be sure the money gets taken out of their account and to look at their bank or credit card transactions. Um, Carriers usually extend the date, but do not tell clients that that date is extended. Make sure that they get their payments submitted. Payment can be submitted directly. Payment can be submitted directly in the marketplace using the Pay Your First Premium button. It looks something like this. However, this is an old screenshot. The Health Sherpa one looks just a little different, but super simple. Okay, keep in mind this should say 2025. If a client does not have a 2025 Obamacare plan, you will use the SEP they have or help with Medicaid and denied Medicaid with their SEP. A list of SEPs can be found here. Most of you should be familiar with the SEPs. If not, you can always go on healthcare.gov and just look up special enrollment periods. However, you do not need an SEP once open enrollment starts. So if you're wanting to enroll people in the next couple of months, you will need an SEP. I'd recommend going and looking that up. We did talk about those on Tuesday. Things like having a child, married, moved counties, lost coverage. So handful of SEPs, I'd recommend just studying up on those yourself so you have a good familiarity with them. Carrier payment information. This is the Aetna contact info. Aetna is actually leaving the marketplace come 2026 plan year, so this information is not as critical unless you have current clients that you do need to help with Aetna or you enroll someone for the last couple months of the year. But if you need this, you can take a screenshot